Hi, this is HP and welcome to this little tutorial advanced rock or shred soloing. In this case, we're going to get into advanced stuff by using modes. For those who missed the summer boot camp 2014 about modes, I really would recommend that you first check out the modes a little bit, that you can understand this tutorial entirely. If not, it's not so bad because you still can learn from stuff I'm going to explain for you. First I'm going to play the tune for you, that you get an idea what's happening. Sound settings. As you can hear, a lot of delay. A little like 7 repeats. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 repeats, but that's enough. And well, a little bit of wah then. Yo, let's check it out first, how this thing sounds. Yo, and so on. That's where we're going for, but of course we need a little bit of practice. But I'll give you some tips to understand the main thing which is happening. If you understood the main thing, this will give some peace into your mental state when you're playing. And actually, then you are able to pull out the best thing out of your guitar playing. Just as an example, some of you might know that I really had a terrible finger injury. And I had a break for 8 weeks now. I couldn't play at all. I started to play 2 days ago, and I'm really astonished that I still can play this way. Actually, this was my first shot now, playing in that speed, and it still worked because I had the main things together, put out the main points, and really concentrate on that, and that gave me the peace that I could go for more. And I'm going to explain you exactly now what I'm meaning. Good. So first, before we start to get into advanced soloing, we need to analyze the tune itself to understand which modes are used. So let's first check the rhythm guitar, which is something like this. Oops, I don't need the wah now. Wait. So, this is actually this is the first part of the riff. Second part is so now we need to analyze what exactly is this. This is a D5 and this is a A5. And now this here, as you can hear, is a D minor 7 chord. And this is a sus. So, and this is an A minor chord, and this is an A sus. Now from the analysis we start here, so it could be A minor or D minor. But since we are starting here on the D and ending on the D, you can be pretty sure that is D minor. Now what does that mean on the soloing? So since the tune is in D minor, now we make the analysis. We played a D minor scale, we played here, which is the main scale which is played over the entire tune. Now, So it's in minor, so on the D we play the Aeolian scale. Now when we go further, which step is the A minor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the fifth step, it's a minor. From the theory we know it's Phrygian mode. Now, what does that mean for soloing? I mean, you can play D minor over the entire tune, but especially on this one, that's why I've chosen this track, that doesn't really work. Because some kind you get stuck when it switches to A minor, you really get stuck. So, first you play the D Aeolian scale, which is this one here. Or the one down here, which I've chosen. Actually from the pentatonic pattern 1 and 4. Yeah, and the Phrygian scale, of course, A minus Phrygian down here. If you don't know Phrygian, from the theory you know that the difference between Aeolian and Phrygian is that the Aeolian scale has, if you count the intervals, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. So the difference between Aeolian and Phrygian is that the 2 becomes a flat 2. So if you want to play A Phrygian, you pick this scale here from D Aeolian, go to A, and then make the 2 a flat 2. This is this one here, make it a flat 2. And then we have it. To knowing the intervals is very important on advanced soloing because you want to outline the scale itself. How do you outline a scale? So the outlining notes of a scale are the ones which are different from the other ones. So as I said, the 2 and the flat 2, there's the difference between the Aeolian and the Phrygian scale. So these are the outlining notes here. So when we play the 2, let's take here the D minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. So here's the 2. So this is the outlining note for the Aeolian scale, and the flat 2 is the outlining note on the A minor scale. So 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, flat 2. So how shall we outline these notes? And now we come to practical use. You just play them as holding notes. Now switches to A minor. So outlining means that the easiest way to outline is just play it, as I did. Of course, with nice vibrato stuff like on the sound, you can also outline it with a little pattern, like start a little pattern on that outlining note, or start a sequence on that note. And probably end it again on that one. Same on the Phrygian. The flat 2 is not so really nice to sit on because it has a little bit dissonance in it, but you can play around it. Something, I don't know, something like this. And then you have outlined those 2 notes. Or go high. And as you saw now, you can also switch positions and go in the higher or lower positions to create more tension. Now one note, of course, a little bit not so much that it really sounds cool. So maybe you need a second note as to outline, and I would pick the fifth. Why the fifth? You can also pick the root note, but the root note is sounds a little bit boring. So this is the root note of D. How you find the root note? Counting through the intervals. 1. So here's the root. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5. Here's the fifth, flat 6, flat 7. So outlining note is 1, 2, and 5. But we take the 1 in. We don't really take the 1 because it sounds a little bit boring, or alter between the 1 and the 5. So, and we do the same thing on the Phrygian as well. We outline 1, flat 2, and 5. So 1, flat 2, and 5. So, how shall we outline it like on the D minor? Just jump directly from the flat 2 to 5, or you want to stay in position, but I like to play this way. So looks cooler, sounds cooler, however. Yeah, and on the here as well. Now I jump directly in the fifth. I mean, first you need to stay in position to find the notes, but after a while you really can connect the positions and switch in between, and then you really can create that cool stuff. Yo, now once you have outlined the stuff, then you can add your runs. You can add any kind of runs. You can play sequence runs on the scale itself, like palm muted runs, or you play legato runs, stuff like this, or whatever comes to you. You can play tremolo picking runs, whatever comes to your mind. But the solo will not really sound nice if you don't have this outlining phase. And then you try to play around those notes. Maybe you find other notes which can be outlined as well, but these are the really important ones. And if you do those, you really sound cool, or at least sophisticated. Now we had a roll. See, now I added the runs in between. You can play any runs, but to give you two ideas for some runs. I mean, for me the easiest run is the legato run, 3 note per string, just upwards. As I did something like, let's take the Phrygian one. That one here, 3 note per string. You play it in sextols, meaning 6 per beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you attack the first of the 3, and when you change the string, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then repeat from here. Slowly it sounds pretty easy, it's like a waltz, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. But of course, when the speed is like 110, it's pretty fast. I need to wait now. Now we can play it. It's really pretty easy because it doesn't make too much technical difficulties. Of course, some, but from all technical difficult runs, this one is the easiest. That's why one of my tricks with my finger, since I know I didn't practice for 8 weeks, I picked the easiest ones that I don't really fuck it up. Yeah. The other thing which I also did at the beginning is palm muted runs on the scale. Now I picked the D Aeolian here in position in the 5th fret. And then you can play any kind of sequences. Like this is cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now you play 16 notes, that means 4 per beat. If you play this sequence here, you have 6 notes. 1, 2, 3. Now put the accent on the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And suddenly, after the 3rd row, the accent starts on the 1st note, and in between it moves around, and this gives this really cool vibe. You just play. Really cool, very great effect, is not so hard to play. Of course, it's cool when you can switch between 16s and sextols, as I did, so. And then you switch the time signature to sextols, and then you don't stay on the same, and this sounds even more sophisticated. But first practice one timing signature after the other before you can switch in between, because the really essential thing on runs is of course that you really are extremely precise in timing, and then you really hit the note when you get out of the run. That's really the point. So you can play sequence runs any way you want. Oops. See, so I switched in between 16 runs, a little bit 8 runs, and then, oopsie, then switch to sextol runs, and putting them downwards is a little bit hard because then you need to have pull-off technique. It's a little bit harder, but still is not so hard as it could be. Yo, that are some tricks, and to really spice the whole thing up, wait a moment. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing with Dr. Brown today. I have Dr. Pink, it's here. Dr. Pink and Dr. Brown. Actually, Dr. Brown is my main guitar. I basically play on this guitar, but actually for the close-ups on the video, the corpus is a little bit too small, and when I play with wah wah, it doesn't work. So that's why I switch on the big view now. To spice the whole thing up, you add your wah, and then we have it. Yeah, and so on. And now we're coming to the beginning of the lesson again. Now comes a trick. I was talking about this point which give you security in soloing. These points are those notes which I was talking about. And first of all, I mean, when you start a soloing or you just solo anyway, build it up on those notes and play around a little bit with those notes, and then try a little bit more, try to develop the whole thing. And when you feel, okay, somehow it's working pretty well, you can add a little bit more, but still having the focus on the focus on those notes. And that gives you somehow an inner peace that you can go for something, and still you always can go back there if you feel, okay, now it's getting too hard, or I don't know, in the improvisation, or you don't want to really risk too much, or you go for something and then where should I go? Oh, I go to one of those notes, and you just jump in those notes, and these give you the security that you really can go for it. And then maybe if you have a really perfect day, things really get crazy and you can really play wild and cool, or on a day which, I don't know, somehow doesn't really work, you still sound good. I mean, when you're on stage or stuff like that, or just for you at home, it's just the way, it's another thinking then, oh my goodness, I need to solo now, and the track is so fast, and oh my god, and where is the scale, and what should I do? And when you think too much, don't think too much. Concentrate on those notes and let the rest flow. That's a trick, actually. Of course, you need to practice those little elements, which I was talking about now. But you have those things together and use those things which work. And this is a different way of thinking in soloing or generally in music. It's not that you have to play, oh my God, I have to play now, oh my God. So just play, relax, and just enjoy those notes, listen to them, and then just let it go. I mean, you can take me as an example. I cannot believe it now. Really, I didn't play for 8 weeks, except a little bit of tapping, but this way I couldn't play at all. And it worked. I just concentrated on those notes and see what happens. And somehow I came through, and I'm pretty happy about this. But it's not, I'm not talking about this because of this incident today. It's in general. Always try to get an inner peace in your playing, and that's what it's all about. So, that's it. See you next time.